Good evening, team. This is the Brown Man, and I'm sure you guys have been seeing some of my videos. And one of the characters that I've actually loved using was ED1 Ash. Before and after the change, ED1 Ash is actually one of my favorite characters to use. He is a support character, which means he gets to share his amulets and his shemps whenever he uses it. Two characters within a 8-meter radius. So let's just go over his perks real quick. His unique perks. His active is Reassuring Presence. It reduces the fear, cooldown to 60 seconds. Alternative healing was changed in the recent patch. It used to be a flat 25% heal for every heavy. So I used to go just Boxer, ED1 Ash, no weapons, punch, 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 heal really quickly. However, that's not the case now. So you're going to have to rely, if you want, on really fast weapons with a lot of damage, but typically those don't really exist. You just heal really quickly over time. But one of the things that people have been doing is scaling with higher damage weapons, which tends to be slower. And typically this works well if you have an Arthur, because Arthur buffs heavy damage. So that's really good. But some of the damage you will take will actually mitigate some of the health that you restore, because you're up close healing, you're probably going to get hit. So you're taking damage, but you're also healing damage. So hopefully if your weapon is strong enough, you will be out healing the damage. But of course, every healing that you do will pretty much be scaled down a little bit, because you always have to go into the fact that you will be getting hit in exchange, because you're using slower weapons that scales higher on the damage, so that way you can get some more heals. Target damage was changed, so when you mark someone now, it's not the next shot, it's for the next 5 seconds. So you'll mark someone for the next 5 seconds, all range damage to that target is up by 20%. So I typically love doing this to possessed units, boss units, and you can just make people crumple. This essentially gives him an Annie passive. Annie's passive buffs all range damage by 25%. But with this guy, you walk around with a shotgun, and I love the shotgun. The shotgun is 5 shots. It's not that much weaker than a boomstick, but it has 5 shots. And you don't have to worry about last chance. A lot of hunters, they will use the boomstick or the double barrel because it's 2 shots, so it gets you that last chance bonus. Supports don't have that, so having 5 shots will actually out damage the boomstick in terms of damage per second over time, right? So you will mark someone, and it's very difficult to miss a headshot with a shotgun. It's quite the area of effect. So you'll blast, and then you'll mark them, and then you'll just keep blasting. Your hunter or leader can keep blasting, and the target that you need will be dispatched very quickly. And each time you shoot them, it seems like it refreshes. For now, it refreshes. So you pop, 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 and you keep refreshing that 5-second timer duration. And especially with the shotgun, you're pretty much always going to do the 20% extra damage. Supports do 80% of a weapon's value for melee and ranged, so mark target damage compensates for that. So it's a pretty good ability. Mark target healing also changed, so it heals you, not your teammates. I don't believe it heals the teammates. I haven't seen it. Someone can correct me on that, but it heals you. Because it'd be really broken if everybody gets a heal now, because it's not just one shot, but it heals you. So it allows you to heal passively. So you can mark someone, and if someone is targeting you and you're not able to actually fight back, other characters shooting your target will heal you while you're running away, which is pretty good. Of course, it scales down to 10% instead of 30%, but each shot will heal you as opposed to just one shot. So it works pretty well, and of course it works on yourself. So if you're marking them with a shotgun and you're shooting, you are marking and healing with each shot. So it scales pretty well. One of the things I like to go is all the way up top, because I'm going to be up close and personal. I'm going to be taking damage tougher than hell. I need to get to Devastating Force, of course, because of course rhymes. Supports once again have the 80% they do 80% of a weapon's value for melee. So Devastating Force helps make up for that. This is mandatory, of course, and Seeing Stars is good because you get to contribute to the balance bar damage. Balance bar damage allows you to get some stuns off really quickly, and really just once again mitigate damage for your team, right? If you're getting stuns quicker, then you're mitigating damage for your team, and that's always a good thing. It also helps you protect the book during the last phase of the game. You have the 2 minutes, you're going to need to get those stuns in. This is mandatory, of course. I go 4 into Shemps Plus. Sometimes I don't. I'll show you another alternative build that I use. This just gives you more longevity, but because he could also heal himself in combat thanks to alternative healing or marked target healing, 4 in Shemps Plus isn't necessarily needed. I don't run Deep Pocket Amulets. It'd be cool, but I typically don't run it. I run him strictly combat, to be honest, because I'm going to be popping amulets a lot because I'm up close and personal thanks to alternative healing. So I'm going to be constantly using amulets, and that's it. It's just not for my character. Amulets, sometimes you're going to use it when you pick it up. They get worn down really quickly as well. So if I'm not playing Pablo, I'm typically not going to run Deep Pocket Amulets. Just because I'm not going to run into this abundance of amulets. The team can pick it up. So over here, I'm going to go for Industrial Strength just for the maximum longevity. Packing Pop typically, especially on the new map, Kandar, you are going to need to be mindful of the lack of looting. There's a lack of looting on that map. That can happen sometimes because the demon will finds you early. You don't have a chance to loot. Having 2 extra Shemps on deck really helps. Of course, carrying 2 more Shemps helps, and that's mandatory. So one of the other builds I like to use, especially if I'm going max damage, I'm going to take out a balance bar. I'm going to take 1 out of that. I'm going to put all 3 into hollow points. That'll actually scale me up quite well, along with marked target damage. So you grab the shotgun, you go full into hollow points, and you are able to actually really do some damage to a possessed unit who's trying to focus you out. You'll pop, and you'll heal it in between each. So a shotgun, especially with evasive movement, it's you shoot, you dodge, you shoot, you dodge. If you are going to primarily use a shotgun, that's fine. You can also take 1 out of health if you want, or take 1 out of Packing Pop. If you feel like you're really good at scavenging and you play pretty safe, you think you're going to get another Shemps anyway, you take 1 out, and you can put accordingly into that. Or if you want extra damage, you can put double into Wig Splitter. Because you're shooting primarily with a shotgun, you are going to get headshots quite often, right? And then of course this extra Wig Splitter damage will give you extra healing. The more that you do damage you do with your gun, the more free health you're going to get. So that's why typically I don't do that. Or if you want, you can actually do 2 in Shemps Plus, but you can go max into Industrial Strength as well. That is one of the ways you can do it. I love this character, and definitely damage is the way that I go. I don't really go into the revives, first aid. They're good perks, but typically in combat, anything will be disrupted. If I'm playing a support character, I'm going to be followed. I'm going to be harassed. If I'm in an objective area, it's good if you want to go into first aid. It's good because it allows you to heal someone. They'll get a lot more health back, so you don't have to Shemps them when they come up. But definitely with Ash, especially with regard to his perks, he is damage orientated. So integrating damage into his kit is something that's going to help you out. And as a support, he can actually hold his own against a possessed unit. Give him a shotgun, and he compensates for the support class's debuff. And especially if you go into stopping power with the shotgun, you're going to be a pain in the ass to deal with, because you're doing the increased balance bar. Shotgun has actually a decent amount of balance bar, and I choose the shotgun once again because you have 5 shots. So if you have 5 shots, you're less likely to be interrupted, right? So typically a weak point of hunters, a weak point of any character with a gun is that reload. Once you have to reload, the demon has that window to poke you out, to do something, right? You're pretty much forced to do things like that. But with a 5-shot shotgun, you don't have to reload that easily or that quickly, right? You have 2 shots of the boomstick or the double barrel, and then you have to reload. So every 2 shots you have to reload. So you do 1-2 reload, 1-2 reload to get to the 5th shot. With the shotgun, you shoot 5 shots. You don't have to reload. The fire rate might be a little bit on the slower side, but you don't have to reload because you're going to exchange blows anyway. You're going to shoot, dodge, because they're going to attack you in between shots. So you're going to be dodging anyway. So that's going to get rid of that downtime. So you're not going to be sitting there, shoot, 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 unless you're targeting a possessed unit or a boss that is targeting a teammate. And in that case, you will get a lot of free damage using hollow points, wig splitter, along with mark target damage. The damage will really stack with this character. And that's why I really love this character. This character doesn't have to hide like a Cheryl. This character doesn't have to go off and do things like a Pablo. This character can be up in your face and be successful. This character can use a gun and be successful. I think this is a really underrated support character. A support character that can bring the damage and the balance bar and sustain themselves is a pretty good gift to the team. It allows you guys to actually dispatch of bosses and certain things quickly. He might not have the constant heal of 8 shemps, but when people are in an area beating on one target, he's constantly healing throughout that. He's sustaining himself, so he has some longevity, so when he's getting targeted and soloed out, that he can heal himself. And a lot of supports, they crumple when they get targeted. But Ash doesn't have to do that. And Ash also doesn't have to waste his shemps often on himself when he gets targeted, because once again, when you use a shotgun, there's actually multiple pellets. So you can shoot, mark, and heal yourself in one shot with the shotgun. So he regularly has longevity. And a lot of people like to use the pistol on him to mark, but I don't really go about it that way, because you want to use his ability on possessed units and bosses, and they eat pistols up, and they can take a couple of shotgun shots. Pistols are nice, but they actually have more of a chance of missing, and they do significantly less damage over time, DPS, than a shotgun. And as Ash, you want to get as much healing as you can through melee, but you also want to dispatch of bosses really fast by crumpling the balance bar or using your shotgun, because that saves the team, right? If the boss crumples really fast because you're doing a lot of damage with the shotgun, you save the team, because the team doesn't need the shemps, right? And that's why I think he is a superior support to Cheryl, or I love Pablo, but even to Pablo, because he offers that DPS as well, right? If you dispatch of the boss or all the possessed units really fast, you're not going to need 8 shemps when you're dispatching of everything really, really quickly, right? And it also helps protect the book, right? Because you get to do all of this extra damage. And some people, they will do Cheryl, and I'll go over Cheryl in a later video. She's good for just straight healing, straight burst healing. But for damage and protection of the point and of the book, Ash is the guy. And in this metagame, there's a lot of people who can't do well early anymore. A lot of demons can't do well early. So a lot of their end game is actually focusing on the book. And I love this guy because he focuses on that. Something people can do also, if they don't want to go all up into that, they can actually take points out of these. Last thing real quick. They can actually go into fast forward. Go into fast forward and go like that. So that way they offer a little bit of everything if you want. So objectives go by faster. So objectives going by faster, plus you increasing damage, means you get rid of possessed units and bosses a lot quicker. And the objective go by a lot quicker, which means less shemps that you have to use. And that's pretty much all there is to Ash. It's go in there, beat the shit out of something with a sword or a shovel, or shoot the shit out of something with a shotgun like you're in the movie, and you do well. It's He is the most intensive support character, however. So it takes some time. And if you're not using a shotgun to get those headshots, it takes quite a bit of practice to do well with Ash. And Ash is a character that has so much to his kit that is situational, but all excels at what they do. Everything excels. He has a excellent fear reduction. It's a 60-second cooldown. Alternative healing is excellent for doing damage and healing at the same time, so he doesn't have to choose. And this is great in terms of time. And a lot of people don't think about this game like that. It's okay, I can do balance bar damage and passively heal and do damage to their health bar and do dismemberment damage at the same time with alternative healing. That's great. Especially, once again, if you spec into Seeing Stars, it's great. And then, of course, you have marked target damage. You're like, okay, I don't need to heal right now, but we have a boss up. And we have a boss up, we're doing damage to the boss, we're stunning the boss, and you're taking away the demon's turn effectively, right? You're healing, you're doing balance bar damage, you're doing your range damage scales up because of marked target damage. You get rid of your debuff. And when they get stunned, and plus you have fast forward, so you're trading. So essentially you're slowing the demon down and speeding up the objective at the exact same time while giving your team sustain, especially through alternative healing if it's just basic mobs. And that mitigates the amount of shemps that you need. So he's the jack of all trades, combat support. That is excellent, and I love this guy. And definitely he's a preference to any other support for me, rather. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is short, sweet, simple, just the main points of Evil Dead 1 Ash. And if anybody has any suggestions, any ways that they like to play Evil Dead 1 Ash, just leave it in the comments. Stay safe and have a good one.